Hey! Thought I'd do a little James Brown impression this time. This is G-Man with Kel in studio at the Matterhorn Studios in beautiful Reno, Nevada. And it is time. It's time, Kel, for What's the Matter podcast. How you doing, sweetie?
Doing great. How are you?
Do I ask that every week?
Yeah.
What's the matter, sweetie? I don't want to be sexist.
I'm very honey sweetie baby. I use pet names for everybody. Because I feel like since I don't have kids, I feel like I'm everybody's mother. If anybody's like younger than me by at least 2 years, they're honey sweetie baby.
Good, man. See, and I grew up with it.
I did too.
So, somebody says, don't call me sweetie. I'd say, okay, tardy.
Okay, sour.
Yeah, sourpuss. So, well, heck, now we didn't talk a lot before, a little bit. You just came back from a little road trip to Sedona, Arizona.
To Sedona.
Yeah. Do you want to share a little bit about your trip?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was, I love it out there. I would love to live there or have a second place there. And it was just like from the minute go, it was just synchronicity after synchronicity after synchronicity, just crazy, crazy stuff. I checked into the hotel, and when I went to walk back out to my car, there was a big rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
There was a hummingbird in the flowers right there, and then my room number was 123.
Oh wow!
Number. So I was just like, whoa! Like right off the get go, I was like, all this was happening.
123,
and it was great. The conference was great. I got to see a bunch of my friends.
Yeah, what were you there for?
It was called Cosmic Awakening.
Okay, so like
it was like a spiritual conference.
Yeah.
And a lot of the what I call the multidimensionals.
It's a good thing you went to that instead of Burning Man.
No shit.
Yeah.
What a nightmare.
I knew it was going to be bad when we get like a monsoon warning. I'm just like, oh my goodness. And they had something a few years ago. And then, of course, they have like there's been like 8 people that have died.
12.
Total?
Oh,
I did not know that. But this
one
was like, was this the first one? It's like for sure it's a homicide.
It's mostly accidents, a couple suicides, and 1 homicide.
I figured that the guy got stabbed over something.
Yeah, and somebody I read in something on Facebook in a comment, somebody saying they know who it is. It was the guy. He was seen arguing with somebody in his camp.
Yeah, but do they know who he is?
That's the thing.
That's what I was like. I've been listening to some of the commentary on it, and it's like it's almost semi-perfect place to commit a crime like that.
Right.
If you really, but it's hard to think of something like that was planned.
No, it didn't seem like it. Yeah. It seemed like it was the heat of the moment argument kind of thing, and just probably on drugs or some kind of substance.
Yeah. Well, welcome back.
Okay.
And last week we, of course, kind of ran through the cancel culture phenomenon a little bit and found out some interesting things about how all that stuff started back in the 1800s, back in Ireland. That's what I like about kind of like the format of what we're doing here, because there's, things that we inherently are learning from each other. So last time, of course, cancel culture, we talked about, that was an interesting conversation, I think. And today we are going to talk about what's the matter with farmers. So when I say that, what's the matter with farmers? What's the first thing that comes to mind? What's the matter with farmers?
Glyphosate.
Yeah. Like
Roundup.
Yeah. That's kind of an established controversy, though. And it's still here, though. But I haven't used Roundup in forever.
Oh, no, we haven't, but they do.
I caught it the other day, though.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. It was quick and swift. My daughter, she texted me the other night, and she shows me a picture of a rat in her barbecue grill. He was just hunkered down in there.
He was alive?
He's still alive? He was alive, yeah. He just looked for places, looking for love in all the wrong places.
Right.
So anyway, she's like, "Oh my gosh, what are you gonna?" I said, "I'll go to, I'll go tomorrow to get some rat traps." And so she's like, "Should I get them? Should I buy them now?" And I'm like, "No, don't worry about it till tomorrow. Just, sleep with a knife by your bedside."
I got a great tip yesterday. You know how like they say, oh, if you have a like an invader in your home or something like that.
Like a human? Or
yeah, like a person.
Oh.
Somebody breaks into your house or you need to defend yourself against somebody.
Yeah.
Wasp spray.
That makes sense.
To the eyes.
Yeah.
It blinds you until you get it out.
Yeah.
And it's 20 feet away.
Yeah.
Instead of worrying about trying to like hit somebody with a baseball bat or the knife you keep by your bed.
Keep that by your bed, though? You're gonna keep
Damn
wasp
straight.
spray?
Damn straight. I'll keep it right under my bed.
With the little, straight shooting thing where it goes out in a straight stream?
Yeah,
Why don't you just do bear spray then?
it's easy.
What so pepper spray, is it better
No.
than
Oh,
pepper
it's
spray?
much better because
Uh-huh.
pepper spray comes back on you, and it's a cloud.
Uh,
It's hard to direct it because
Interesting.
it spews out, and then it comes back on you. That was the big thing.
Yeah,
And it also how it came about was a lady had it in her office because she was an HR lady,
okay.
and she was concerned about angry, you know,
Yeah.
retaliation. So she would keep it on her desk. If you keep a can
Wasp,
of
yeah.
pepper spray on your
Pepper
desk,
spray.
people are going to ask. You know, people are going to
Uh,
look at what do you have that for? You know, your
ah,
desk or whatever. But nobody would question wasp spray.
that's a good point right there. Now
Hmm.
I like that one. I
Hmm.
could hang my hat on that one.
Heck yeah.
That's a lot of work, though. Somebody breaks in my house, I'm just gonna shoot shoot them.
Well, yeah. For those of us who
Yeah. It's not
have
gonna
gun
be a good
felonies and
thing.
can't own a gun,
I have the sign right outside there. Nothing inside here is worth risking your life over,
no,
and there really isn't, you know?
no,
Th
there really isn't.
there's not,
I mean,
and
you think about that,
yeah.
and I think most criminals nowadays are kind of aware of that, unless they're like heavily under the influence of something.
Mhm.
There, I have noticed not as much like petty crime like that as
Yeah.
there used to be, like
Well, and not just
breaking
that.
into cars and stuff like that, because it's like I think even they realize
Well, that
unless they
depends
can
on where you live.
specifically see
Yeah,
something to be stolen,
yeah. Sometimes,
random car break-ins like there
it's
used to be.
yeah, it's so interesting,
Mm.
just the you ever seen that oh, what's her name? Golly. Oh, what is her name? Can't remember it. Her name was Smurf, but the Animal Kingdom, it was a series, they had about 5 seasons, and basically it was about this crime family, small crime family, 5 people, in it,
No, that's that is small.
some brothers, a mom down
Hmm.
in Southern California, and they would scope the place, and that's the thing. It's kinda like, I don't want somebody breaking in my house,
Hmm.
right? But if somebody's gonna do that, if they're gonna case my joint, again, it's gonna be better for everybody if they did that when I'm not there. I'm not telling anybody to do this, but if you're gonna knock my place off, you you find out when I and my wife are gonna be gone and do it then.
Hmm. Hmm.
What you should do, because if you come in at nighttime when I'm sleeping,
Oh.
that, okay, that has a much higher preponderance of somebody that's willing to hurt you to get what they want,
Mhm.
to hurt you, to keep you quiet, and so that's just a whole different extra level, and so that's why I would go to a whole different extra level in that case.
Oh, sure.
We're all built with the fight or flight, and at this age, I ain't built to fight anymore, and so it would be what it is. But and I tell you what, we're talking about farmers today, and there's a lot of farmers that would do that. They feel
Absolutely.
that way also,
Absolutely. We have a lot to
so
protect.
so now that we got what's the matter with farmers out there. So today I want to kind of frame things where kind of more of a down to earth look, at a kind of a resurgence of farming culture.
Mhm.
Okay, where I was raised in the country. My dad was a farmer. Actually, Cal, he was raised in a little bitty town called Farmersville. It doesn't get more farmland than
No,
that,
it doesn't get any more
right?
agricultural than that.
So, so I spent my youth having to do chores, and as a kid, I really didn't like it. I wanted to go out and ride bikes and play with my friends and stuff like that, like most kids do. And so there was always that it helped kind of build a foundation of me wanting to get the hell out of there. But now I find that when I get, I don't know if you're like this. Do you like gardening?
No,
You don't like
I'm
gardening at
terrible at
all.
it. Plants
Okay.
hate me.
So this is interesting. This will be an interesting thing because I was going to say that, speaking of fertilizer and weed killer, right? So I would actually prefer to get down on my hands and knees for half an hour to an hour and just pull the weeds.
Mhm.
It makes me think back to, again, grandpa and dad teaching it, as silly as it sounds, the proper way to pull a weed is
Absolutely,
to
there is a
pull it
prop
up
that's for the
by
root.
its
Got to.
roots, right?
Mhm.
And so, no, just chopping it off, no putting fertilizer on. I want to kind of, I don't know, there's something about, again, getting your hands dirty. So we're going to kind of talk about that today. You may not be able to relate to it after I found out that you don't. 'Cause that's what's fun about this stuff. You may, say relate to some of these topics, but it's always good stuff for conversation, right? Especially with you. So, But, let's talk about maybe cover everything from kind of homesteading, and then we'll get into some prepper lifestyles. And, it is like I was talking about, sometimes it's very therapeutic also. But let's begin kind of like with this unlikely bond between Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg. That's what I
Hmm.
want to do. I want to talk about those guys because I thought it was pretty cool. You know, you got Snoop Dogg doing his thing. Do you think Martha got high?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Like before or after? In prison? Yeah, she can
Oh,
get up
nah,
in prison.
no.
But look, I guess their opposites definitely attracted right here in the kitchen, in the garden.
Hmm.
What about the bedroom? Snoop and Martha.
Oh,
That would be pay-per-view worthy.
yikes. No thanks. No thanks. I'd pay to watch them smoke together, but nothing else.
Oh, that would be a good one too. So, what do you think, after Martha post that's a conversation in itself, what ended up getting her in the pokey. But after she got out of prison, and now she has, of course, a rise in popularity due to this gardening trend. Uh, word is that Gen Z loves her.
Jay,
Isn't that
yes, it
interesting?
is.
Yeah. So, what do you think's happening there with the gardening trend? You always, of course, have. I mean, there was gardening shows before, but she kind of seems to kind of really kind of
Oh, yeah. What do I think is
taken over
happening?
in that space. Yeah.
Inflation,
Mhm.
poisoned food,
Mhm.
you know, processed food. No, I think it's a snapback that people want, and this is basically people putting out into the collective that we want clean food, we
Yeah.
want healthy vegetables, we want our soil returned to
Have
the.
you watched you haven't watched her show then? I haven't watched her
Oh
show.
no,
I should have probably
no.
watched
I,
one
I
for
I've seen it once or twice
research, but
ages ago, but
yeah.
not. I don't even have a TV, so.
But Snoop's really into it though, into gardening.
Oh,
I think that did he start growing tomatoes first
I don't
or
know. I don't know
cannabis?
much about probably cannabis.
Yeah.
I'm
That's where he
sure
probably got his
he
green
has
thumb.
people. Absolutely. He probably knows and has
Mhm.
chemists. I bet his operation is pretty
Mhm.
highfalutin. But for the average homesteader that wants to do their own, it sounds like a good idea. And then they start doing it and they're like, ooh, this is a lot of work, and just physical. It's heavy. It's a lot of physical labor if you want to do it in more than just, pots in your backyard.
How much are you like on Instagram?
Very little. I hate Instagram.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I
I
need to
don't
get
get
on
it.
there more.
I don't understand it.
Talk about scrolling.
Yeah, and I don't.
It's kind of like this instant juice.
I'm a reader. I like some video content just to get the quick information, but
Yeah.
for the most part, I prefer to read.
Interesting. That's good. You're setting yourself apart again.
It's just me being weird.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but there's some of the celebrity culture, you know, doing their own branding, with farming and homemaking. Again, I was just curious about the Instagram thing because that's typically where they're at. And
Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah, they're raising chickens and growing gardens.
Mhm.
They own working farms, and um,
Yeah.
Catherine Heigl.
Uh-huh.
She
Yeah.
knows she has a lot about dogs that she's posting, but I think that she has a farm also.
Catherine.
So
Right.
so based on the cost though, it seems like, do you think the farming movement, as far as like people kind of having a little home farm on whatever amount of property that they have, do you think that it's genuine, or is it
Oh,
just
yeah.
something that's performative? Just,
Oh,
oh, I
at
got a
all.
little farm.
No way. It's way too much work to be
Hmm.
performative.
Ah,
Way
that's
too much
true.
work.
Yeah.
Nobody would do that just to show off.
Yeah. Cause you got to get up. I used to have to get up at 4 in the morning to milk a cow,
Yeah, if you've got
feed the
livestock, heck
horses.
yeah.
Yeah.
But even just, the physical labor of plowing and planting and harvesting and fertilizing, getting all of that down enough to get, a decent yield if you want more than just two little zucchini, a little, cucumber and a couple of tomatoes. My dad had a whiskey barrel garden and he did eggplant, zucchini,
He would just like
cucumbers.
cut the barrel and,
He'd buy them
uh,
cut in half and fill them up with, stuff and
yeah.
peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchini, and eggplant.
Did you like it?
Loved
Good
it.
stuff. Now, that was my next question. Did he, make you a part of it to show you all that stuff? He let you be a girly girl?
No, I wasn't a girly girl. I had to be the son and the daughter, and I
Uh-huh.
much preferred football
Yeah,
cards and
because I was
beer
gonna
to
say the
football.
tomboy.
Yeah, but I wasn't into.
Yeah.
To me, gardening was like chicky stuff.
Yeah.
My mother had, African violets inside, this and that. I couldn't grow a plant to save my life. To
Was
this
that
day,
your
I
first stereotype?
can't. Maybe, but yeah, it wasn't my thing. I I I had to chop wood and, mow the lawn and chores and stuff like that. To me, that was just more work.
So let's think about when's the first time that you heard the term off grid?
My goodness. See, I'm an original prepper.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
that's still a term. It
yeah, I
seems
would say probably 35 years ago,
oh,
maybe.
that far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up in RD culture,
Uh-huh.
so
I was thinking like 2025, so it's not that far.
yeah, no,
But that's me. I mean, the
yeah.
term's been around
And I
a
grew
long
up in the
time.
Northeast, which is heavily survivalist.
Mhm.
I mean, like everybody around us.
Yeah,
I was a Girl Scout, and they taught us like survival, all kinds of survival skills, and
right,
it was just a thing. We were all just prepared. We're Cold War babies. We were waiting for the flash.
right.
So we were prepared for anything.
What was that? There was I mean, talk about off grid. I mean, off grid, like living in a lab, that's off grid.
Yeah. See, when I think off grid, I just think boondocking. I think like in a cabin in the woods somewhere in an
Like deliverance
RV.
style.
Yeah, off, just not having to be plugged into,
Yeah,
commercial electricity and water
right.
utilities. That's
Yeah,
off grid to me.
yeah. There's
Nice.
it's hard to do that over here. And
It
yeah,
really is,
in Cali.
especially
It's
if you.
easier in Nevada.
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
it is. But it's, again, it's a lifestyle thing. It's a difficult lifestyle. I lived in a motorhome for 2.5 years in real life. I mean,
Mhm.
plugged into shore power, water, sewer, whole 9 yards, and that was hard. I can't imagine trying to, like, live full-time boondocking. I mean,
Right.
maybe going away for the weekend camping or whatever, yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
But to try and live like that with a generator and propane and
Yeah, that's what my next question was, is what would it take? Because you look at this like preppers, right? And so especially somebody that's really done it.
Mhm.
So one of my friends, interestingly enough, they have property up in Truckee. And so actually have to, you have to go in road a good mile, and they have this plot of land that has everything. I mean, first of all, they're by Lake Tahoe, so
Okay.
the water supply. I mean, Truckee, Lake
Sure,
Tahoe.
right, it's Tahoe.
Yeah. So they have the water that flows through there. They not only have solar, but they have batteries
Okay.
to store the solar.
Uh-huh.
So they're not hooked up to the power company
Got
at all,
nice.
at all. So it's incredible. And so, but for somebody, to do that, they kind of have to get fed up with something. It seems like, like think of the Michael Douglas movie, Falling Down, where that guy's just fed up with society and
Yeah.
he goes off and he goes on this crazy episode. But, what would it take, for you to just say, that's it. I'm going off grid. Would you ever do it? Or if so, what would it take? It's pretty extreme, of
It
course.
really is.
Yeah. Could you?
I could. I
Okay.
absolutely could. I think what it would take would be a massive system failure, like
Hmm.
an apocalypse.
So you'd be forced into it.
I'd be forced into it.
You're not going to volunteer for
No,
Naked and Afraid
no.
or
I am a convenience freak.
yeah,
Like I like that's why I love Reno. Big city convenience, small town feel.
I like it.
I can get anything I need 24 hours a day. I can get from point A to point B in 20 minutes. It's very easily navigable for me because I've
Yeah.
been here so long and I know how it works. Like even if I'm considering, moving to Sedona, and my biggest thing is how inconvenient it is. Like
Mhm.
that's my biggest hesitation. It's like it's 2 hours from the airport. It's, they have two grocery stores in town.
That would be kind of
It's
off grid for
ridiculous.
you.
It would be very off grid for me.
Yeah.
It'd be quite off grid.
It'd be like moving
Just
to all tourists.
yeah, yeah. The closest next town is 15 miles away.
And you said the elevation's up there too.
4,000.
It
It
is
goes up to
4,000.
7,000. Yeah.
That's just like El Toros.
Hmm.
That's crazy.
And
Can you hunt elk there?
I am not sure. I saw a lot of. I took a side trip to Flagstaff, and on the way there were a lot of deer crossing signs. The
Uh-huh.
yellow signs that have the deer head on it. So I'm guessing there's.
River, anything
Yeah,
like that?
there's some water there.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I could. I haven't seen any livestock. I haven't seen anything, but I could imagine there might be something
You may
there.
be living off the land.
Yeah, it could be. But so yeah, I have to really think.
Mhm.
Do I want to be in such an insular place where I don't have any other options.
Mhm.
I mean, I have to pay the price for
So
what
you're
it
seriously
is.
you're gonna leave Reno again?
I don't know. I no,
Mhm.
I'm not. It's not imminent or anything like that. It's
Don't forget to let me know.
of course, and it wouldn't happen quick. I mean, unless somebody wanted to pay for it. But
Yeah.
um, it's just one
Well,
thing
so
brings
it
me.
looks like you're smitten by that area.
I
Yeah,
like
well,
the air.
yeah.
I like the potential there. Like
Mhm.
there's a lot of potential for what I want to do and I mean it's wide open for what I do,
Mhm.
with all the witchy woo stuff. And it's a vortex. So it draws people like that and that are
Gotcha.
into that kind of thing. But it's a definite enclave and it's
Yeah.
very expensive. And there's an element there's kind of a dichotomy. There's an element of, you know, rich, not necessarily old money, but money. There's
Right.
that element of that upscaley, luxury thing. And then there's the element of the bohemian kind of,
Have
crystals
fun.
and stuff. Yeah, it's a
And you
lot like
possibly
how
might
Reno
be
used to be.
and you might be tempted with that little business aspect that you were sharing with
Yeah.
us. So, well, with you, I again, that's what's I guess sometimes a little bit negative with not really talking about what the show is going to be with you every week. Because sometimes, in this case, like I found out that you're not into gardening, and so it kind of from this next
I'm into the
question,
concept. I couldn't personally pull it off.
yeah,
I love the idea.
yeah, yeah. So so relating to therapy, right? So like I said, there's just something, and our matters of fact, it'll hit on this a little bit. There's something about again getting your hands dirty, farming, gardening, things like that, and prisoners,
Yeah.
things for therapy for
Hmm.
them. Do you think that is it more farming that the contemporary people are getting into, or is it more like just raising animals? Because they want to have
Probably a
a
combination of
goat,
both.
or an alpaca or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Probably a combination of both.
Yeah, goats are a crack up.
Yeah.
They are
Especially the
so fun.
myotonics, the fainting goats.
Yes,
Love them.
those are the
They're my
best.
favorite.
They're like, ah!
Mm.
Oh, you could watch those videos all
All
day
day
long,
long.
for sure.
My dad loved them. And I used to watch them with him and we would just crack he didn't have much of a sense of humor and
Uh-huh.
living with my mother, repressed. So when dad laughed, it was good.
Yeah.
And we would always just hoot when we watched those.
Have you known anybody, like, personally that took up homesteading or gardening for their mental health?
No, not for mental health per
Okay.
se. Like that wasn't it was a side effect. It was a
Ah,
side benefit that they
yeah.
weren't
Think
even
about
aware of
yeah.
how much they enjoyed. That's the couple people I've known that have done it. That's what kept them sticking with it because it was hard work. They're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
this is a shitload of work, and
yeah.
you really have to be into that. And the reason I stuck to it was because how I felt when I was actually doing the work.
I was always when I was finished.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and there was a sense of that too, the accomplishment, the pride of, create,
Right.
the stewarding something from seed to, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah, I don't know. I remember the first time when I found out about kinda like life, I guess, 'cause, I was at an auction. Dad said, "You wanna buy a calf, you'll have to take care of it," and then little Pinky, she passed, like, 2 months later. Did I tell you this story
no.
before? Yeah. I cried.
Oh, I bet.
But that's where you kinda learn, all things have a season,
Yeah, yeah.
that type of thing.
Cycle of life.
Finishing up on this before we head off to another segment is, as far as this homesteading, gardening, things like that, going off grid, do you think this is kind of like a passing fancy, a hobby for some people, or is it an actual true warning sign? That people are not, because again, I'll throw this out. There's a stat that do you know how many people are considered preppers right now?
No.
20 million people. That's a
Yeah,
good
it's about
size.
right. That's
That's
about
a
right. Out of
that's
350 million, that's not that's not
yeah. I
crazy.
mean, it's still a good size number.
That's a lot of people.
You know?
Yeah.
So we'll
Oh,
get
definitely.
but do you think it's a hobby or is it a warning sign of,
Uh,
used to
No, prepping has been a thing since the Cold in my lifetime since the Cold War.
Mhm.
I mean, I was a Girl Scout and I remember being trained in all kinds of survival skills and all that kind of stuff. And I was surrounded by, a neighborhood full of men who were prepared for anything kind of thing. So yeah, I don't think I think it ebbs and flows as the cabal escalates stuff. They put stuff out there to create fear and it grows,
Right.
and then nothing happens and people go, oh, okay, everything's cool. And then the ones who weren't, who were only doing it by
Mhm.
force drop back off. And then you've got your core people who just want to live that way. But I don't think it's necessarily a trend as much as I mean, like,
Right.
where they're trying to do it to show off to their friends or whatever. I think it's a trend in that fear. It's when fear escalates, people will start worrying about supply chain and
Right.
logistics and COVID type stuff. And then
Exactly.
it flashes back to our doom imprint
Right.
from the Cold War and how many other lifetimes we was been killed. So it just creates a
Well, I
whole
hope you're right.
storm.
I hope you're right. Well, heck, it's that time, I
Ooh,
think, so we're gonna do a little laughing crickets here, and then wanna what I'll do is I'm gonna work on actually getting a little bit of music or something like that before, but so we're gonna go with the farming joke edition, and I do have the crickets on the. Oh man, I just realized that I put the crickets by the boo. So if I think I could do crickets, maybe boo if it's really, really bad, you know. We'll keep going. Okay, so these first two, Cal, are a little bit short. And as I was reading through these, I don't know what happened when I was looking for this. I did find a website, um, I do a combination of AI now and kind of looking for some stuff because AI hasn't had a good track
yeah.
record. I don't know what's going on with that. But anyway, the farming joke edition. So the first one here. So did you hear about the local farmer that just successfully grew a field of vibrators?
No.
Yeah. Unfortunately, now he has a problem with squatters. Yes. Okay, we have a winner.
That was funny
I like it. Okay. Now this one seems a little bit easy. So why don't farmers ever tell their secrets in a cornfield?
because the ears might hear it.
That's right. Too many ears are listening. That's good. Yes. Oh man, there's one lady really going crazy in that audience there. All right. Now this one, I have to set this up with a little sound effect here. Okay, I'm a little bit nervous. Okay, so farmer, are you paying attention? Mhm. All right, that's a long one. Okay, you got to be engaged. Okay, a farmer goes into a local bar, orders a glass of champagne. So the woman sitting next to him said, well, how about that? I just ordered champagne too. And what a coincidence, the farmer said. This is a special day for me. I'm celebrating. This is a special day for me too. I'm also celebrating, said the woman. What a coincidence, says the farmer as they clink their glasses. Did you like that?
And he's
And he's like, what are you celebrating? She says, my husband and I have been trying to have a child. And today, my gynecologist told me that I'm pregnant. Yeah, what a coincidence, said the man, because I'm a chicken farmer. And all last year, my hens were infertile. But today, they're all laying eggs again. That's great, said the woman. How did your chickens become fertile? And he says, I used a different cock. And the woman smiled and clinked her glass and says, what a
me too.
coincidence.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I
So
like
far,
that.
so good.
That's
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah. I like it. We're on a roll here. Okay. All right. So next one. And you notice these are all about farmers so far,
Mhm.
right? So, all right. College student. I have college students here. College student walks up to a farmer and says, excuse me, sir. So obviously on a liberal college campus. Excuse me, sir. I couldn't help but notice that on the far north end of your property, I saw some cottonwood trees. Would it be okay if I go and harvest me a few bags? The farmer scratches his head and says, son, everybody knows you can't get cotton from a cottonwood tree. Well, sir, I'm an educated man, and I think I can. So the farmer allows him to go. And a few hours later, student comes back with two overstuffed bags. See, sir, I told you I'm educated. The farmer was amazed. Now, a few weeks later, same college student comes up the driveway and says, excuse me, sir, but On the west side of your property, I saw some honeysuckle, and I was wondering if it would be okay for me to get a few jars of honey. Farm says, come on, son. Now, everybody knows you can't get jars of honey from honeysuckle, but go ahead. A few hours later, student returns with 2 big jars of honey, Kel. See, sir, I told you I'm educated. And a few weeks later, just like clockwork, the student returns a third time. Excuse me, sir. I couldn't help but notice that on the far south end of your property, you have some pussy willow. Son, the farmer says, let me grab my hat. See? You untethered a little bit. All right. This one. Now, we talked about ancient aliens before. So this one's about aliens. You ready? Okay. An alien couple. They land their flying saucer in a farmer's field. They approach the house, explain to the farmer and his wife that they are intergalactic swingers. Yeah. And he asks them, hey, is it okay if we spend the night, do our thing with you guys and then go back to our planet in the morning? So the farmer and his wife talk it over and they agree to the swinging offer by these aliens, right? And so the male alien takes the farmer's wife into the barn, drops his pants. He's got a green penis, no surprise. That's only about an inch long, erect.
Oops.
And it's narrow like a pencil.
Okay.
So farmer's wife giggles a little bit until the alien twists his left ear. That was when his penis extended to 13 inches. The alien then twisted his right ear. His penis thickened to the width of a Red Bull can.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Way too big.
So the next morning, though, after all this hanky-panky goes on, right? Next morning, the aliens leave after breakfast, and the husband's talking to his wife and asks her how to go. And she's like, wonderful. I'm glad we agreed. She said, how about you? The farmer says, man, I got to tell you, you seemed really strange and very different from human sex. Well, how so? Asked the wife. Well, all she did was play with my ears the whole time.
That's awesome. That's
not
a
bad.
really good one.
Yeah, well, I've upped my game this week.
Yeah, you did.
Are you ready for the bonus?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, last one. All right, a 50-ish aged woman's, and she's home, right? And she's naked all the way, nothing on. She's just happy, jumping on her bed, squealing with delight. And her husband walks in on her, watches her for a few seconds and says, you have any idea how ridiculous you look? I mean, what's the matter with you? The woman just continued to bounce on the bed and she goes, I don't care what you think. I just had a mammogram and the doctor says that not only am I healthy, but I have the breasts of an 18-year-old. And then the husband replied, well, what did he say about your 55-year-old ass? And then she responded, well, your name didn't come up at all.
These are really good.
You like that one, huh?
Yes. That was great.
Woo! We didn't get no crickets.
No crickets.
No crickets that time. I love it. I love seeing you laugh, Kel. You're fun. You're a fun laugher. All right, let's get into this next segment. What do you think? All right, so we're going to talk about.
I get going laughing and I can't stop.
We're gonna
watch. I'll be scrolling at night and I'll watch some of these reels. Some of them are hilarious. They just really make me.
I know it. That's what I want to do. I want to, I like to make people laugh. I just can't do it as a.
Like a stand-up.
Yeah, man,
I'm not terribly funny.
I don't think I'd be that funny.
Like I riff off of stuff, but I'm not funny on my own.
All right. Doomsday time. Prepping gets practical. All right. So, did you know that farming as a prepper? We talked about that. So, 20 million Americans now identify as preppers. And I know how to hunt and
Yeah, I do.
I just, man, I sure wouldn't want to have to do that every day.
See, that's the problem. Like, I'm like a half prepper. Like, I can do half the stuff.
You can kill them.
Kill it, but I can't. I can't take it apart.
Yeah, it is not the most fun thing. But it's kind of like, I guess.
My ex did. He used to.
Yeah, Dexter can do it.
Yeah.
Are you watching that?
I saw a couple episodes of it the first time.
Yeah,
it's not my thing. I'd rather watch real. I'd rather watch true crime.
Somebody said that people that watch true crime stuff, so it's like
to pull off the perfect.
Yeah, like
easily.
I don't know. I watch stuff like the Dexter series, and it's just like it just convinces me. Just don't even think about it because it's just Like we just went to Tahoe and, shaking out the sand, in my water shoes, and then days later there's still sand
Yeah.
and there's some sand
I'm a
in there.
forensic nightmare because my
Yeah.
hair. I lose hair all over the
Yeah.
place.
But then somebody said that like 40% of all murders go unsolved. Hey, we started talking about Burning Man in the
Yeah.
beginning,
Yeah, the fact
So
that, in that concentrated a population.
yeah, we're not telling anybody to do it.
No, oh, of course not.
Don't do
And
it.
I
Yeah.
mean, I say I could easily. Technically I could.
Yeah.
If I know how to pull it off, physically I could never do it. I'm a physical empath. I can't I can't watch surgery, I can't watch violence, I can't watch people getting hit, I can't like anything like tragic happening to a human body or even
Mhm.
an animal, and I get sick.
If I did it, it would be to pedophile.
Pedos, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's how I can kind of get down with Dexter, because he's kind of like,
Yeah,
just
he's
the
kind of
whole
on a
thing.
mission, yeah.
Like we don't want vigilantes, but if you do have vigilantes, you want them
This
to
is
remove the
yeah,
the
the
rap
thing that
dogs.
everybody thinks is scum.
Yeah, so. But let's talk about prepping.
Okay.
Um, so urban farms and community gardens as neighborhood resilience hubs. Adrian was saying that there's a property, I think she said, like acres and acres, like say 20 acres or whatever, 80 miles, 100 miles from here. And she is saying to turn that into like an RV park, kind of like communal
Uh-huh,
type
uh-huh.
of thing.
The
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. She always has interesting ideas.
yeah. Those, there have been quite a few attempts at that.
Mhm.
You know, it's a great idea conceptually, it's a great idea on paper, but it's very difficult to I mean, you have to keep it small, and a lot of them, in order for them to be viable, they have to have too many people just to pay for it.
Right.
And then you get in you're like, "Oh, well, we'll govern this way, it'll be by community or be by,
When you
by
would wanna
committee
make
or
sure
whatever."
that you get along with everybody too
That's the
before,
thing.
yeah.
It starts out that way, but then things start to shift, and then some negative elements start to come in, or somebody wants more power.
Everything was fine.
Or
Everything was fine until those alien swingers came into our camp.
so you really have to, go into it not thinking, "Oh, this is gonna be utopia,"
Right.
like some, hippy-dippy commune, because, inevitably somebody doesn't pay enough, or somebody doesn't work hard enough, or somebody doesn't contribute enough, or whatever. The agreements are that everybody's gonna, you know, work the way, if because if these they try to make these completely off the grid.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of work to be done
Yeah,
when you do that,
yeah.
when you're not just plugged into the utilities. Gotta
You gotta clear out
run
the
water,
bush and the
clean it, you
sagebrush
gotta
and yeah, yep.
maintain the land, you
Mhm.
have to keep the generators pumped,
What about wild animals too?
protection
Mhm.
and security, and, how do you generate electricity? Where do you get clean water from? It's a lot. There's a lot that goes into it, and it ends up being very expensive. The initial projections of what it's going to cost are never correct. They're
Mhm.
always astronomically higher.
So it would be probably for people that are already, say, retired and they have their nest egg, and they're not
Exactly.
worried about where the money's
And who
coming,
are
it's
they?
already
Who are
yeah,
they right now? Do boomers get along with each other very well? No, because they're control
yeah,
freaks. Somebody,
yeah,
somebody, will- I mean, you see it in HOAs.
yeah,
Go to a 55 plus HOA for fuck's sake.
right,
Jesus Christ,
yeah,
what a nightmare!
yeah,
Because you have these pseudo CEOs that want to just get in there and control everything, and then they end up getting stuck in because nobody wants to run against them.
yeah, can't we all just get along?
Exactly.
Now let's
The
talk
answer is
about
no.
young people then. So young, adults are choosing self-reliance over luxury. And I think, of
Because they
course
can't afford luxury. They wouldn't.
that's right.
They would choose luxury if they could.
Yeah, it is right,
This
it is a
isn't. Don't think this is virtue signaling of any kind.
yeah, it's a different economy, it's a
Mhm.
different challenge, than, of course, the boomers had. But and so, is your point is that they're not really choosing it, they're just dealing with it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually probably a good point. So here's some statistics, okay? As I mentioned, so that 20 million people equates to 6 to 7% of Americans are now serious preppers. That's serious, right?
Yeah,
So
and that's about right.
yeah, and
I'm sure it spikes up to probably about 10% when things get hairy.
so what do you think the percentage of US homes that garden?
I would say maybe 20?
Cent.
55.
Yeah, that's why they're saying that there's
Really?
just like a huge, you know,
Now, is that
upward
like
curve.
full, like, land garden, or are those
They didn't specify
barrels and small?
farms and community gardens, or I'm sorry, Victory Garden Resurgence. 55% of U.S. households now garden.
Okay, I think that's
Yeah,
probably a pretty broad.
71.
I think anybody, I mean, I'm sure that
So it
there
wouldn't
that's
count
a
a
spectrum.
lawn. Yeah,
I'm thinking they're, the people with the
plants
yeah, I'm sure they're talking about
outside.
the people with the cherry tomatoes in the backyard
Yeah,
and the people with full farms and livestock. I think both.
yeah, me. I think
The survey was probably, "Have you ever grown any of your own produce?" And you're gonna get grandma, my mother, we used to do our own cherry tomatoes in the backyard, and that's wonderful. I mean, I'm all for it. But, to think that over half of this country is actually farming their own produce, I doubt that.
what is a Victory Garden?
That's a good question.
Victory Gardens, vegetable, fruit, and herb plots promoted by the U.S. government during World War I and World War II to supplement civilian
Oh,
food supplies.
interesting. Our neighbors, when I was growing up, our neighbor, Bob Weber,
Uh-huh.
big garden. As a matter of fact, I fell into a fire in it once. So
Wow,
completely
so that's
burned.
what makes this sense. So during World War I, World War II, they said Victory Gardens once grew 44% of American
I
produce.
can see that.
So
I can believe that. Well, because you didn't have Whole Foods, you didn't have grocery chains, you had the
yeah.
local grocer, the greengrocer.
Well, and the point they're making here, Kel, is that this isn't just a rural thing. The urban and
Mhm.
suburban farming is on the rise, and so, kind of like formulas, invest, in skills and soil. Invest in your skills. So you say that you don't have a green thumb. Is that
No.
because you're obviously intelligent? It's about
Plants
photosynthesis and.
hate me. And they just, I mean, I'll buy plants at Smith's, like
Mhm.
little begonias and orchids and stuff. I'll get them in my house, and no matter what I do to them, they
So you're like, well, no. I was going to
bamboo.
say
I didn't know bamboo.
you're.
That's it.
I was going to say you're Reno's version of Poison Ivy, but that's the opposite. Poison Ivy, the Batman villain, was actually
Was a coat.
she could
Yeah,
do
she
it.
could do it.
She could
No,
grow it.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
What would your superhero be for plants? A villain. You would be a villain.
Yeah, foxglove.
It's like name your plant.
Yeah,
No, your superhero would be Kel fuck you up.
yeah, yeah. That's and it's frustrating because I would love to have some place around.
You should don't give up.
I either overwater them or underwater. I don't know. I have no idea. But they're perfectly healthy when I buy them at the store and I bring them home and they die within days. That's crazy.
So would you rather have a safe full of I already know this is stupid. I'm not gonna ask this question. Said, would you rather have a safe full of gold or a greenhouse? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could buy a greenhouse.
Yes.
Ooh, this is
Maintain it.
thought provoking. So, do you think? Of course, this is speculative for you, but is gardening more about control, survival, or sanity?
I think it probably depends on the person. For me, it would be control.
Yeah,
So I wouldn't have to deal with the Walmarts of the world. 'Cause, I mean,
control.
food is terrible. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I just settle for, I mean, I hate, it takes me 3 hours to
Hmm.
grocery shop. It's terrible. It's a horrible experience. It's so painful, physically painful, on my back and stuff like that. Yeah, it's not nearly as bad as it used to be when I was really sick, but
Yeah,
it's it's such a waste of my time to go into the store, do all the shopping, put everything in a basket, take it to the line, take it out of the basket, onto the conveyor belt, put it out the conveyor belt, into bags,
yeah.
in the bags, into my car,
Each
out of
one
the
has to
car,
have
into
a
the house, out
plastic
of the house,
bag.
into
Yeah.
the it's, and then I have to prep it too to eat it. No, no.
Hmm.
I just, for one person, it's a complete waste of time and money. People look at me cross-eyed when I say I would rather eat out. It's cheaper for me to eat out because I
Hmm.
eat once a day. I basically
Hmm.
eat once a day. So it's cheaper for me to eat out and let somebody else do all of that work than for me.
Yeah, because you're not eating a lot.
I don't eat much.
Yeah.
And I don't, for a while I was eating what I called big food,
Hmm.
big steak and lobster and all that for a while, but then I got over it. And so now I have Walmart. I have Walmart Plus. So I have them deliver my groceries.
Hmm.
And even that takes, having to pick everything, go online and click and pick and, order everything.
Hmm.
But it's a lot easier sitting in my bed doing it than standing in the store pushing a cart.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, because my wife does most of the gardening,
Hmm.
And so, but if I were to have to, again, till soil, I don't know. Right now, I guess it's about more like you're mentioning a little bit about control, and it's fun too, also to say, man, I grew this
Of course,
tomato, and
there's
my God,
absolute
that tastes
pride.
really, yeah, this
Sure.
strawberry, oh, it's so sweet, right? But but then there's a part of it also, like I mentioned, putting my hand in the dirt and doing some stuff for the sanity. I'll get some sweat that comes off my brow, and I'll flash back, to 50 years ago, 50 more than 50 years ago, 55 years ago, just again out in the pasture, just doing stuff, saying, God, when am I going to get that Pepsi? No, they gave us water. My dad and grandpa violated all kinds of child labor laws back then. Here's a good question for you. So based on that, could you live without a grocery store for a month? Like right now, if like
Yeah,
1 month, yeah,
yeah,
there's enough stuff in your
yeah,
house. Do you think that being ready, for another episode like we had or worse, do you think being ready is good for your mental health? Having, say 5 gallons of water, because we do. We have water,
yeah.
beans, rice,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
just stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's just it's more of a peace of mind thing. Just kind of something you can just take off your radar screen.
Mhm.
Okay, that's taken care of. I know it's there. If anything happens, I'm good.
Yeah.
And kind of be done with it.
I forgot to do this earlier, but I also have some historical flashpoints what happened on September 3rd, 25, 50, 75, and 100 years ago.
Mhm.
You interested?
Yes,
All right,
absolutely.
25 years ago on September 3rd, in the year of our Lord 2000, we have Gloria Steinem,
Mhm.
an iconic feminist and journalist who married environmentalist David Bale. That's what happened 25 years ago.
Okay.
So the only talking point I came up with is, do you know who Gloria Steinem
Oh,
was?
yeah.
What was she famous for?
Feminism.
Ah, that's why. So,
Mhm.
so public figure, personal milestone, celebrated more for her activism than for her relationships. It says it. All right, 50 years ago, which is a trip, right? Especially what we're talking about here. So, 50 years ago on September 3rd, 1975, NASA launched the Viking 2, the backup spacecraft that would go on to explore Mars. And there was a plan B that, let me get my glasses on here. So, Plan B for the NASA Viking 2 mission was the alternative landing site chosen after orbital images revealed that the initial target was too hazardous. Remember when that happened?
Mhm.
Yeah. And the precise location of the original Viking 2 landing site is not available on the current mission summaries, but it was replaced after the orbiter began scouting the surface of it. So, but man, just think like 50 years ago, and how long have we been getting? How long did it take to get there? Do you know?
To
To Mars?
I don't. I don't remember. The rover?
It took a year.
Okay.
Yeah. So interesting. Okay. So 75 years ago, have you ever heard of Nino Farina? He became the first ever Formula One world champion.
Oh, okay.
He won the Italian Grand Prix, and which was the birth of this particular global sports legend. And
Gotcha.
I bet that he must be around anymore.
I would think not.
Yeah, 100 years ago today. Oh, oh, aw, this is a sad one. September 3rd, 1925, the Navy dirigible USS Shenandoah crashed during a storm over Ohio, killing 14 of the 43 on board, which was a fatal setback in early flight technology,
Yeah.
showcasing how tragedy can ground innovation or, fuel for a safer future. You always learn, from those
Absolutely.
types of things as they are now, with the crash that happened with unfortunately, the helicopter pilot that 100, wasn't there 100 some people in the Hudson River?
What what
Oh, like
what?
6 months ago?
No, I didn't hear
So
about that.
yeah, so there was a low flying helicopter, military helicopter that they are constantly at the airport,
Okay.
and the traffic control says, "Hey, look up to your left." There was two Again, hopefully I'm not getting this wrong, but there were 2 people manning the helicopter instead of the normal 3.
Oh,
And so anyway, the helicopter, as this plane is commercial, plane is landing right in midair. Yeah, it's like 140 something people. But of course, one is too many. But yeah, pretty crazy.
yikes.
All right, so let's delve into. Let me get this set up over here. Where is it? Oh yeah, I have it right here. It's the lightning round. So 30 seconds. Okay, so I got 10 of these things for you here, Kel. Let's go with. Yeah, we're staying with farmer stuff here. So, what seed do you wish you had planted earlier in your life? Life coaching,
It's a
lightning round.
good question. I wish I had planted the seed that money is not a block. Like, I got a heavy program from my parents around money.
Yeah, there's not a shortage of money. There's a shortage of ideas
Right.
type thing.
Right. Yeah. I wish I had that seed rather
Yeah,
than money doesn't grow on trees. That
yeah,
is tight. That's too
yeah.
expensive. You're not worth it.
That's what I started to say.
Yeah.
Sometimes people think they don't deserve it.
Right. It was
That's
heavy.
a
It
good
was
one.
a heavy with that with my parents.
All right. So, what is a habit that you'd love to compost for good? So, one of your habits that you want to get away or get rid of. I mean, of course, if you care to divulge.
Probably scrolling at this point.
Okay.
I was really good for a long, long time. I didn't do it. I would rarely touch my phone. I would be online all day on my laptop, but I would rarely touch my phone unless I needed to text somebody or, use an
Ooh,
app or something.
speaking of that, oh, go
I
ahead.
miss scrolling time. I'll do bed revenge, like bedtime revenge, that they call it that, where like I'll stay up longer than I intend to because I was so busy during the day that I didn't get my scrolling time. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that. And I don't
Okay.
scroll crap. Like
That's a good one.
most of the stuff I'm on my feed is highly educational. It's pretty much work related, a lot of it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of narcissism, a lot of psychological stuff and that kind of thing. So it's not even for entertainment per se,
Right.
but I'm compelled to do it.
Have you heard about the national movement to take cell phones away from the kids in school?
That would be great.
It's so amazing that it's here. So
Yay.
when I was doing
Is it
the,
picking up momentum?
oh, it's more than that.
Oh.
When I think it's 60%, I think, of the schools nationally have already. So everybody, this again, finally a bipartisan, seemingly bipartisan
Yeah.
type of thing. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was going through the curriculum for teaching credential back in 2010, and I was not the most popular substitute teacher because again, I'm in there just like put your phones away, put
Yeah.
your phones away.
You were strict.
Yeah, because you can't pay
You let
attention
one get
if you're
up.
just or thinking about something else. You need to be focused on what's being taught. And I would always make a deal. And here's what our goal is today. If we get through with this early, then we'll close up and you guys can get your phones out.
Mhm.
But not until then. Now they're banning them, and some of the parents are freaking out, because saying, which again just goes to show you how bad the helicopter parent
Yes. They
is.
can't get in touch with me.
Yeah.
I can't get in touch with them.
Yeah.
When you went to school, could your mother
What
call
did we
you in
do?
class?
What did we do
No.
back in the day? Yeah.
We went to the principal's office and it was a fucking emergency.
Yeah.
Big time if we had to call parents from home.
Yeah. Only an emergency. Yeah.
Only.
Yeah.
Emergency.
And if you had to have your parents
And vice
come
versa.
down there and it was because of something that you did, some behavioral type of thing,
Oh,
yeah,
big
cause
trouble. Big trouble.
right? And so I felt, when I was there, I felt bad for the position that teachers were in
Absolutely.
because you see some crazy things. I saw a video last week, a couple of weeks ago, of this high school kid that was acting out, had a kind of a smaller stature teacher, that was there, and he was all pumping up with them and stuff like that until the school police got a hold of him, and then that kid got exactly what he deserved because they think that again they can do and say
Right.
Everything
Because their parents let them get away with
it that it used
So
to work.
yeah, that
You know?
it's poor
Oh
parenting
my
that enables
goodness.
that.
Yeah.
And then they think they can just get away with it anywhere and
Yeah.
that they don't have to abide by,
Yeah.
the teacher's rules or
Yeah.
society's rules or the store's rules or
Yeah.
whatever. They just think they're
Yeah.
wild.
And if they have a parent at home, of course, the parent
The
isn't
single mother,
there, right, isn't there, doesn't get
jobs,
there till later, so
bad
they're
men
not
choices
supervised. And, yeah, I mean, that's again, we could talk about that stuff
all
for
day.
a long time. Okay, so life coaching lightning round, what's a personal drought that you've survived?
Oh gosh. Health. I had a terrible health drought for a while there.
Okay,
Very,
yeah,
very sick. Companionship, attention, work, productivity, purpose,
mhm,
mission,
yeah,
big droughts.
yeah,
Those for a
that's
while.
and that's why as a life coach, you have a lot of, empathy to offer people.
Yes.
Alright, now, next question. Back to the farming. What do you want to harvest in the next season of your life?
My next level up.
Yeah, which
Like
is
I'm in
you're
it.
working on it.
I am. I'm in an evolutionary process now to I have been kind of stuck where I'm at for a long, long time. Like sort of just at this level of whatever. I don't know what you want to call it. I mean, economically, effort, like
Unfulfilled. Yeah.
very unfulfilled and stagnant.
Mhm.
And but not knowing how to step up. And also having a lot of like what I call throwback hooks. What will they think of me? What if, you know, oh, they're, just by being in
Like judgment-based
judgment, it being in a
space.
small area like this
Mhm.
where, everybody knows everybody kind of thing, somebody in our position,
Mhm.
lots of people know us and, we've been known in a specific role for the most part.
Right.
And then when you want to break out of that into something completely different, there's that, oh, what are people going to think? Kind of,
It's true.
and even when like consciously, you're like, I don't care what anybody thinks.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
subconscious.
the self-doubt.
Yeah.
The self-doubt.
Those seeds were planted a long time ago.
Now think about a farmer, like a good farmer, good wholesome farmer that's actually doing it. I'm not talking about
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
home
no,
the
like,
home
oh, like
stuff, a legit
yeah,
farmer, right? And so what's one life skill or value from that farmer that we as a society need more of?
responsibility,
Oh,
accountability, perseverance.
that's a good one.
Sometimes you have that
Boy,
cross.
don't those describe a partner?
Yeah, yeah.
I like it. And what's one lesson that farming teaches about life?
Consistency,
Mhm.
routine, schedule. You have to, I mean, you can't screw up. I mean, there is a very specific timeline and, it's quite linear as
Mhm.
to, what the process is of growing, reaping and sowing, if you will.
Right.
Um, and it, you have to be consistent. You have to be informed. You have to know what you're doing. You can't just kind of go out there and throw a couple seeds on the ground and go, "Hey, good luck with that."
Yeah.
It's
You gotta tend to the soil,
you have to
tend your
have
soil.
skills. Yeah,
Mhm.
you have to have knowledge, skills, experience. I think farming and since this country was originally kind of based agriculturally, there
That's
were
all there was
that's pretty much what
for clothing.
people did for their own. Just that's just kind of how it was. And until commercial outlets for such things came about,
Right.
industrial revolution,
Yep.
you know, um, that was just what people did. But at the same time, they didn't have to have 3 jobs. They didn't have corporate offices. They didn't have 17, well, maybe they did have 17 kids, but they didn't have, you know, kids who were distracted and wanting this and that. No, gimme, gimme, gimme. And
Well, and they probably ate a lot of the same food, and they didn't, they ate to survive. They,
right,
I mean,
food
they
was
didn't
fuel, not
they ate
entertaining their
they
mouth.
ate to live. They
Yeah,
didn't live to eat,
exactly,
type of thing.
exactly.
You know what I came up with was the one lesson farming teaches us about life is no matter what happened during the course of that day, the sun's going to come up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is that too corny?
No, that's no, that's a really good point.
Good farmer.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and, because there would be I remember growing up. I grew up in a very agricultural, rural area,
Mhm.
and several of my neighbors had, like, full-scale gardens, and I lived right near an orchard, and so, I mean, I was raised around lots of we had 2 huge horse corn farms down the street. I mean, I grew up around
Yeah.
farming.
Yeah.
I didn't do it personally, but I grew up around it, and it was just I don't know what people did. It was very
Yeah.
salt of the earth, very, but we didn't have the options for distraction that we do today. We just didn't. We didn't have, malls were even relatively a new kind of concept.
Oh gosh, dang it! I've been forgetting that.
Okay.
So, how do you define? I'm on it now, Cal. How do you define harvest in your personal life, or
Yes.
one's personal life, I should
Yeah,
say?
that's a
Yeah.
that's a good question. I think it just depends on who you are. Harvest is different for everybody because harvest to me means getting the results, receiving the benefits for what you put out in that process. So, I think that's going to be what people even want to harvest is going to vary greatly, in what they consider a harvest.
And it'll be different for different people, right?
Absolutely.
So you could have the
Absolutely.
same recovery that's going to harvest different
Different
results
results.
for people.
Absolutely. No question.
I
No
agree. Now, what's a weed that you've had to pull in your life mentally or emotionally?
Many. I was straight up delusional. I lived most of my life in what I call functional delusion. And it was okay. I mean, I was functional, I was very functional, but my thought processes were it was a strange dichotomy because I'm extremely grounded and practical, but my head is very Neptune, is very idealistic and wants to see the best in everybody and everything. So a weed I had to pull was people pleasing.
Gotcha. That's a good one too.
Mhm.
Now, here's the last one. If you had to prep one food item that you were going to have to eat for the
The
rest
rest of
of
my
your
life.
life, what would it be?
Ooh. If I had to prep it right now, at this very moment, this could change, but right now it's either broccoli bites or quinoa salad because that's what I live on now. I can batch cook both of them and just leave it in my fridge for a week and eat from it.
Well, you're too healthy. I would have to learn how to prep one food item. It would be our town pizza.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. I mean, I've tried to make pizza before. It's terrible.
I know. It's hard to mess it up.
I see. I don't like the like.
Well,
I tried to act like a long time ago. I actually tried to do it like good to go, and like the way you do it easy. I just don't like. I don't like buying a shell and
yeah. No, no, no.
special sauce and all
Yeah,
that.
no.
It's
That's
just
no
we have
fun.
such good pizza places here.
Yeah.
There's no reason to make your own.
Well, I mean, I have to
The
agree with
closest I
that.
get is Papa Murphy's, and that's actually pretty
Yeah.
good. But they put it together for
Yeah,
me, so.
it's difficult. We were wondering the other night, just like, want to just grab one of these like $10 pizzas and just throw it in the oven, something quick. But we couldn't do it.
Yeah,
We didn't do it. We ended up spending like $60 at Costco.
right. It's so worth it. Well,
Well,
I'm from the East Coast,
yeah,
so
four beers though.
pizza's a real thing to me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big deal.
Heck
And
yeah.
pizza and cheesesteaks, and we have several great places here
Yeah.
that are really just really good and different. Every one of them is different, but I like them all differently. But I love pizza. I get on a pizza kick every once. I'm kind of on a pizza kick now.
Really.
It's an easy deal.
Uh-huh.
It's like I can go to Blaze up the street, like Legends. Blaze is nice. Their pizza's really good, especially considering it's that assembly line pizza. But it's very, very good.
Oh my gosh.
Grimaldi's, I love them.
So good. Man, so have you heard of like farm fluencers?
Farm influencers? They farm like influencers? They're interesting.
Yeah.
No, I have not heard of it, but I can see it.
Goodness gracious.
Yes, I have. There's one that he's not
A new
I
generation
didn't
of
think of him
Instagram
as a
stars.
farmer, but he's a horticulturist. He's a gardener. He does like
Yeah.
but it's not like a tilled garden in the ground.
Yeah.
He does like plants and stuff.
But these
And
guys are
he's
legit.
cute.
Yeah.
That's
And
funny.
they're building brands for their
Mhm.
farms.
Mm-hmm.
So it says farm fluencers are sharing life on the land with the world.
Interesting.
It is hard work.
It really is.
When you're not
Bob and his kids, working in their garden. The kids with they hated it. Bob and Trisha, his kids,
uh-huh.
and but he had a rototiller and he had equipment.
Yeah.
So it wasn't terrible. They went out there with rakes and stuff, hoes and spades, but still they would have to like at the end of season and all that.
So speaking of some of these now, as I mentioned, there are some celebrities that are, how they do the celebrity chefs, type of thing. So Kanye, he has a ranch.
Yeah, I know
There's
that.
there's an
He has one in
Oprah's
Wyoming, doesn't it? Isn't it?
Oprah's orchard,
Yeah.
Martha's
Oh,
tomatoes.
geez.
So
And
I guess,
they're not doing it.
well, that's what my question was going to be, is that, let's contrast, say the ego of celebrities versus the humility of farmers.
Mhm.
So
The homesteaders.
talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Well, now see now you were asking me,
about like what's
so
wrong with our society type of thing.
you were asking me, is it, is it an ego thing or survival or whatever? I think in the celebrity case,
Hmm.
it's far more a virtue signal. "Look what I
Exactly.
do. I grow my own
That's
food. I too." "No, I
hmm
can't." You have a whole staff that only does that.
yeah,
You
like
can afford
Meghan Markle, like with
out
her
there.
food
Can
thing.
you see her out
Yeah.
there on her hands and knees and
Well, not in a farm, but she's got, she gravitated toward the whole foodie, type of thing. But why do you think that the people, the farmers that are actually doing the feeding of us rarely seek the spotlight? They're just
oh,
humble
there's
and
yeah.
lovable.
They're focused on what they need to do. I mean, it is so it's such a science, especially if you have livestock. That in and of itself is a whole separate process, and having to keep them healthy and fed.
And it's a commodity based industry.
Mhm.
And so their profit margins
So yeah,
fluctuate, they go up and down. You
absolutely.
could have a couple good years followed by 3 bad years, or vice versa, whatever. But
That's
yeah,
one more to worry about the
but yeah, I guess the real thing is like the farmers, the real farmers, the real deal. They're not posting at all. But yeah, I think it's like, I think I like your point earlier about what it teaches us is how growing something. It teaches consistency, patience. What about that? Because like, yeah, you
oh
got
my
to do
gosh,
all
yeah. I
kinds of
mean,
work
to grow.
before you can
Yeah.
actually pick it, right? And which certainly speaks to, the respect of cycles, life cycles, seasonal cycles, things like that. But, I guess the contrast is that you have this silent success with farmers who are just there doing their job, humble and lovable, versus this noisy attention,
Mhm.
that is part of this social technology, that we have. And I think I know the answer to this, but which one do you think builds a better world? The silent success or the noisy
Oh,
attention?
obviously the silent success.
Yeah.
It's foundational. The noisy part is that helps draw attention to it for people who are unaware that it's even a possibility. I mean, there are kids today where you can ask them, "Where does your meat and fruit come from?" "The store." They have no idea
Yeah.
about the supply chain. So I think
We need more
the
field trips.
awareness, yeah, definitely, but I think the noise bringing awareness to it is good,
Mhm.
but for, what's better for society, definitely
Who's the who's the most humble, hard worker that you know personally?
many. And I know lots of very industrious people. You, for one,
Minnie?
many, many, many. You know, you know, um, my boss at the tuck shop, Kathleen Hanley,
Oh, yeah.
and her husband.
My wife is a hard worker. She is, man. She's
Yeah, she is.
just
Yes,
like,
she
I
is.
have to,
In her
like,
business.
just
My
when she
wife,
comes
right,
home, I'm like,
business
"Stop."
is she is unbelievable. The
Yeah.
place is crazy. I mean, she has owns her own stylist business. She's a hairstylist,
Mhm.
and then she has like a whole circle of friends and family that she helps and does stuff for.
Earth angel.
Yeah,
Sounds like an
yeah.
earth angel. So, again, I think I know the answer, to this, but do you think we glorify the wrong people? And if the answer is in the affirmative, like, what can we do about it? About, again, just the current status? How can we start noticing and paying homage to the people that deserve it more?
Um,
Is it like a one-on-one thing, or is it something? Because you got the occasional, blow up, viral,
uh-huh.
type of thing, but I think that in the most part, it's like every single day, the people that don't deserve the glory get it, and every single day, the people
Well,
that do deserve it are just lost in the shadows.
and that's the only way to change that is for those of us who don't put ourselves out there to start putting ourselves out there.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the only way is you can't get attention if nobody knows who you are.
Mhm.
If you're not, putting yourself in front of them. The
Right.
only reason it's the way it is because those people have more balls and voice.
Yeah.
They're more willing to put themselves out there and risk the things that the rest of us don't. I think that the crux of which for many of us is thinking how we want to think of ourselves as good, humble, knowledgeable people and perceive that as being, loud and egoic. So there's a cognitive dissonance between the fact that, well, I have a message I want to put out that I think can benefit people, but I don't want to be perceived as this, that, or the other.
Yep.
So
True stuff. All right. Here we go again. We're going to switch it up. Now, Kel, it's time for what's the verdict? Okay. So this is a farming trend, and you're going to go thumbs up or down and then explain why or why not. Okay. So apparently, uh, there are urban chicken coops popping up in apartments. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
thumbs down, thumbs
Yeah.
down. That's not fair
Yeah.
to the bird.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Like just
What
not
that
only that,
what a
but
selfish thing to do.
the bird, just your neighbors,
Your neighbors,
the landlord,
oh, that is no,
yourself. If
no,
there's any kids in there,
that is extremely
it's
selfish.
abusive. Okay, I agree. So thumbs up or thumbs down on GOAT, GOAT, GOAT lawn care services.
Organic launch, yeah, I think that's a cool idea. I've seen that. It takes a while. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, where they're just basically grazing
Oh,
instead of using gas,
mhm,
oil, and lawnmower noise,
yep.
stuff like that. You just put some goats out there and let them go to town.
Mhm.
So you like that? I think I like that too. Okay, now put on your dating hat. So, what do you think about the trend of farm to table dating experiences?
I love it. I
S-
love farm to table anything.
Yeah,
I'm
that's right.
all about that. I kind of miss it. Like it was a big thing here in Reno for a while.
Uh-huh.
When I still had Foodie Focus.
Are you familiar with the Iketas?
Yeah,
All right.
I thought it was Aikitas. Is that how
That's
you pronounce that?
it's Iketas. I said Iketas, and then we were there, and they had it spelled out with the pronunciation.
Interesting, because it's
Yeah.
not. I mean, technically, it should be two Ds if it's going to be Aikitas, but neat.
Yeah,
That's good to
Iketas.
know.
Yeah, right. But
And so, yeah, like farm to table was a big thing here. We had Andelin and
mhm.
Girl Farm, and we have several really good farms. Not Ferrari. One begins with F.
Ferrari
No, for
is it the one out on Rock?
F.
Oh, and Fallon.
Yeah, I swear it begins
Yeah.
with F. Can't
I can't think of it either.
off the top of my head. But yeah, we have quite a few. Many of our local restaurants were doing the farm to table thing for a while,
Mhm.
and it seems to have gone by the wayside.
Start to say it's probably tough, from a margin standpoint.
I'm sure.
Well,
The
maybe not
competition
so
don't.
much from the margin. Something like that would be the demand,
Mhm.
and then a lot of times, those types of businesses are pretty small scale.
Small.
So
That's the
even
supply
if you
and
get
yeah,
a high
that the
demand,
inconsistency I think in the
mhm,
supply. I think it was
yeah.
a neat concept and people were into it, but the actuality of it wasn't.
Now, what do you think about this for homesteading? What do you think about legalizing homesteading as a tax write-off?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, that would be a good one too, because we're both anti-tax.
Yes,
So,
that would be awesome.
okay. What do you think about farming boot camps for city slickers?
Ooh, I love it. I think that's a great
It's like
idea.
a dude ranch, but
Yeah.
instead of horses, you're teaching them how to farm.
Mhm. That would be really cool.
Get these
Like
city
an
slickers
intense,
some
you know.
what was the show that Rogan had? Fear Factor.
Oh, was that Rogan?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Huh.
I think so.
Interesting.
Pretty sure it was Rogan that was the yeah. And then, of course, celebrity farms, thumbs up or thumbs down, like,
Mhm,
Kanye,
mhm,
Oprah.
yeah.
They gotta have something to spend their money on, I guess.
I guess, I mean, if they were,
Yeah.
growing the food and giving it away or something like that, that might be cool, but
Hmm. That's actually a good question. What do they do?
what do they do with it?
I would think Martha. No, Martha is an entrepreneur. She probably
I think
takes those tomatoes.
yeah, farmer's market or
Some
whatever.
yeah, she's canning
Yeah,
that stuff.
yeah.
Oprah's orchard. Don't get me started on Oprah.
Mm.
Kanye. That guy's, he's been categorized as a little bit loony, but some of the stuff he was loony about, people don't think he's so loony now, I guess, on
Right,
some of the stuff.
right.
So very, very interesting.
It's I knew, he was okay, but, what he was saying was right, but it was just the way he went about it that
Uh-huh.
caused people to kind of reject.
Yeah. I mean, because why do you think they would even do that? Why would they, of all the things that they could say virtue signal over, why do you think that they're going to farming?
Practicality?
I mean, comparing themselves as famous people and then putting them, I mean, they're wanting to kind of not downgrade, but get closer to just being a regular person. Think sometimes they wake up and say, God, I hate the paparazzi.
Oh, definitely.
I just want to be a normal person. I'm
Yeah,
going to turn into a farmer. That little
yeah,
inside voice. That'd be a good interview question. It's
yeah,
just like, what were you thinking?
right.
Right when you said, I'm going to be a farmer. I'm going to give up all of my Hollywood glitz, all the millions, all the adoring
Well, I'm
fans.
sure they didn't give up any millions. They're still getting their royalties and stuff.
But that's right. Now they're getting endorsements. But, sometimes, people do just, they just plant seeds and they're going to start showing up and they're doing it for pure reasons. I don't know. But it would be difficult to shift from, say, a celebrity status,
Mhm.
but some people do it.
Yeah,
Some people
yeah,
do it. Some people do give up Hollywood. They get a bad taste in their mouth and they just wham, I'm out of here.
yep.
None of them come to mind right off the top of my head, but I know that they're out there.
I can't right off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
I know of some.
But farmers, man, they ain't worried about trending. They're not worried about trending. They
Mm,
just want to feed us.
mhm,
There's ego. Sometimes that happens in culture, right?
mhm,
Oh, that's an interesting little take there, right? So ego and culture, but it's humility and cultivation. I like that because you think about, people that are, say, proud of their culture for whatever reason. Whereas one time I was being interviewed by somebody with the NAACP, and he told me later that he asked this question of everybody. He's just like, "What ethnicity are you? What race?" That's what he said. He goes, "What race do you claim?" And I said, "The human race." He's like, "Oh my gosh." He goes, "I like you." He goes, "I ask that question of everybody, and not very many people say that." He goes, "But it says a lot about you." And I wish we would do away with labels. We all know from archaeological standpoint where life started, you know, in Africa, the migration patterns and stuff like that. People that were in and out of the sun more, That's how we get suntans,
mhm,
how we don't get suntans, how we get sunburn, but yeah, humility and cultivation, ego and culture. Now, there's a reason why we should respect, this quiet excellence from ourselves now more than ever. Not having to, tell people how great we are, but having a good, self-esteem, good self-image, self-respect for yourself, and just keep trying to spread sunshine
mhm.
for all these other farmers that are out there. So here's a little bit of time here for some matters of fact. The true dirt. It's what I titled this under, some statistics and stuff. So 1 in 8 Americans face food insecurity.
Mhm.
And so this is where home farming, can help a little bit. This is one that I was definitely kind of bummed out about, and I want to check it a little bit more into. But suicide rates for farmers,
Interesting.
3.5 times higher than the national average. 3.5.
Wow. I
That
I can I can see that.
that equates to
Because the way they
stress.
get jerked around, I mean,
Yeah.
think about remember Farm Aid, Junkies and
Yeah. Oh,
Mellencamp?
yeah. Oh,
It got bad.
80s, right?
People
Yeah.
people we tried to save it, but you can't compete with the Monsantos and the Doles and the Del Montes and the big industrial farming just came
Mhm.
in and took it all over, forced them into selling the land. I remember it where I grew up. A lot of those areas, I remember them coming in and just everybody was just like, well, you had to do what you had to do. They offered you too much money. I
Mhm.
mean, it was like just amounts you just couldn't turn down. And that's what they do. They come in and they just take over.
Now, gardening has proven benefits of mental health
Mhm.
as it reduces anxiety and increases serotonin, improving one's mood. So that's that little note that I had. So when you're in the soil, right? There's microbes that are in there that they're
Yes.
saying that creates the serotonin. So talk about the benefits of serotonin. What's the good stuff that it does for us?
Oh, serotonin is one of your pleasure chemicals.
Yeah.
It's one of your feel. It's a feel good chemical. Like
Mhm.
it keeps your mood aligned
Mhm.
and up. You know, and it works in conjunction with dopamine, oxytocin,
These are all natural.
yeah, all natural.
Yeah.
Dopamine, oxytocin, and vasopressin,
Mhm.
and those are your four. That's the neurological cocktail for the best health and getting along.
What's the most common way that people experience serotonin?
Right now, it's more of people are getting more dopamine. Dopamine is the one it has more of an instant effect. Serotonin is more long lasting.
Kinda like if you're like you're laying down on a paddleboard at Lake Tahoe on a beautiful day.
Yeah,
That's more of a
it should be just kind of
serotonin
flowing. Yeah,
flowing, yeah.
yeah. Now scrolling on your phone, looking at likes, and that's dopamine.
Gotcha, gotcha. Agritherapy is now a recognized PTSD treatment.
Hmm.
Isn't that
Yeah,
cool? Yeah, so what part of agriculture do you think it helps somebody that has PTSD? Is it the
it's multiple.
okay.
It's amplified if there's livestock, if there's animals,
Mm.
and as a
'Cause
matter of
there's that
fact,
connection with another
another
living
being
mhm,
that they are
relies
caring
on them.
for
Mhm,
that is able to
mhm,
show them gratitude for the most part.
right.
Um, Hippotherapy, horses,
Mhm.
is a big thing. Our own Eddie Floyd has the Winding Ranch
Yeah, that's right.
where they did some hippotherapy work
That's
with
right.
veterans and
Are
things
they
like that.
doing that still out there?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but that I mean there was clear benefits to it.
for sure.
Just it's visible. You can see the transitions.
Yeah, and they have programs, it's more animal related, but,
Hmm.
programs where they train dogs and get
Hmm.
the emotional
Yeah,
support
yeah,
thing going
exactly,
and
exactly. And I think it's all basically the same result. It's being able to see the results of your efforts, whether it's raising an animal, feeding an animal, caring for an animal, raising a garden, caring, that going through that whole process
mm,
cannot be altered by humans.
yeah, do so
It's only going to take so long to grow, and it's going to take this much fertilizer. You can't, I mean, you can within there little tweaks, but for the most part, it is what it is. And it's one of those things with people, ex-prisoners or people with PTSD, things like that. It enables them to focus their mind off of the flashbacks and the constant thoughts and the loops and create new neural pathways that then can wire them out of those old loops.
gotcha. Now where you live, are you void of plants? You don't have
No,
any plants inside your house?
I have some bamboo.
Okay,
And I do well with bamboo.
okay.
I can keep that going. But we actually, in my condo complex, we have a whole area out back that is set up
For
for gardening.
garden, right?
And it was too late by the time it wasn't. I mean, it's set aside and it's there, but it was all overgrown.
Mm.
And
Nobody was taking care of it,
no, and
or
I mean,
using it, I should
I
say.
live in a 55 plus where
Yeah.
everybody's mostly 75, but
Uh,
so yeah, it just kind of, and then there was a problem a couple of years, like somebody was trying to do it a couple of years ago, and then they jumped over the fence and
sounds like
stole it,
a
and
great idea that just
it
didn't
just
kinda
didn't
work
quite
out,
work out.
yeah.
So they let it get overgrown. This year we had our landscapers clear it all out,
Uh,
so it's all clear and ready now. And but it was by the time they did it, it was too season was ahead. It was
yeah,
already too deep into the season. So, but next year,
yeah,
or maybe for I need to do research on what
yeah.
grows when.
Well, around
Like,
here, you gotta make sure that you don't get faked out by the first spring, because what
yes,
happens is, like, you always
yeah,
have
and then we get the
that
snap. Yep,
yep.
that's true.
So you
We
gotta
had that this year.
plant late,
Yep.
plant late around here. So lastly, under this little segment here under the matters of fact, so kids in garden programs, of course, gardening, show higher test scores and better emotional regulation.
Mhm.
So why would that be?
Well, just the emotional regulation would come from the control they would have over their nervous system by
Mhm.
doing that procedural work. Just following the process and training the body into now I do this, now
Right.
I do this, now I do this, now I do this. There's very little improvisation there. So there's not a whole lot of thinking. It's just kind of, you know, automatic doing.
Right.
And when you get into flow state, your nervous system will regulate, and you won't have that chemical shitstorm of cortisol, norepinephrine, adrenaline.
And it was always fun. So I think of kids and field trips, and it's kind of like the best time for them is like seems like between like 7 to 11. Yeah, right.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah,
they're old enough to take care of
yeah.
themselves. They can go to the bathroom, wipe their
But
own
you're still
butt.
fascinated by everything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they're still pretty much listening to adult instruction for the most part. All right. So what do we got here? We are going to go trivia time.
Okay.
Still matters of fact. And so this is just true or false. So true or false, Kel? The average age of an American farmer is over 57 years old.
The average age
Yeah.
over 57.
Yeah. True or false?
Yeah, I would say that's true.
It is true.
Yeah.
Very good. 57. That's kind of for working out in the sun. That's up
It's
there.
heavy.
So and what that says also is that there's somebody that probably started when they were young and
Mhm.
they're the the
Mhm.
the test of so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is multiple choice. A, B, C, or D. What percentage of US farms are family owned? A, 20%, B, 52%, C, 70%, or D, 98%?
Twen-
The answer is D. 98% of US farms are family owned.
Ooh,
Yeah, family owned. You can still actually, you can still have,
93%. That's hmm,
yeah,
that's very surprising. It doesn't sound right.
yeah. No, but think about it, right? On a farm, there's normally uh, a patriarch, that started generations ago and stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Mm.
So I don't know. That seems to make sense to me. 98, but 98% is a big number. So we'll double check on that. Okay, so remember we spoke about the Victory Garden crop during World War I and World War II. What was the most widely grown Victory Garden crop during World War II?
Cool. Or wheat.
That's a good guess too. It was tomatoes.
Huh.
What is the top state for United States vegetable production? A, Florida, B, California, C, Texas.
California.
Good job. California. All right. Last one. Which country is the world's largest agricultural exporter?
China?
United States.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. We do a lot of shit here. Yeah. That's why.
Technically, all 8.2 billion of us could fit in this country
Mhm.
and be supported by the resources.
That's why I was telling people stop tripping on all this
All the
stuff, man,
scarcity
because
shit.
we don't
Bullshit.
need nobody. Like we could take care of ourselves right here. So, all right. Now, little reflection here. Like, so after all of this, so why do you think the proven fact about getting your hands dirty is so healing, even though it's not you're not a fan of it for the people, the therapeutic aspect of it. Why do you think that is?
I think it's because it's somatic,
Hmm.
and you can by having to focus your physical energy on something, it clears the mental energy. You can't be focused on what you need to do to care for something that can't care for itself and be looping about the office or
Yeah,
whatever and expect to be effective.
yeah. It's almost like it's so simple.
Yeah.
It's so simple. That's what's actually grounding you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The simplicity
Hmm.
of a very set process.
Yeah. I like it.
It
So
would be a good one to ask about that. Maybe at Alexander.
right, exactly. I thought about calling him, but I'd give him a little bit more time. So, in our public school curriculum, do you think that there's a place for farming? Of course, you have your Future Farmers of America, your FFA, and stuff
4-H.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And
No,
so,
I don't think so in school. It's not gonna, I mean, there
where are they
there
going to
could
learn it?
be like the 4-H, Future Farmers. That's what those organizations.
But those guys are in the public school curriculum. I mean, they're part of it. Future Farmers of America. It's kind of like your business education. They have the same type. They have a national organization for
Sure,
students in
sure.
business.
But it's
So,
not specific curriculum in
hmm,
most schools.
hmm,
And I don't think it would be, I mean, we need so much more before that.
yeah.
We need checkbook writing. basic cooking, cleaning, how to fold a fitted sheet.
Yeah,
What I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
if we're because we took all home economics, we took
yeah.
that back
Well,
in
the
the day.
question
We
was,
took
is there
snack and shop
yeah,
out
for sure.
of
Well, that's
schools.
coming back though, but the question was, is there a place for farming? So it's not, I guess the question's framed in that it's not a requirement for all students, but it should be there. Let's say like if somebody wanted to go to an agricultural
Right.
school, it should be, it's exactly, there should be some sort of
Or
club
have
or
some
organization.
kind of,
Yeah,
yeah, way to
some
funnel those
avenue.
kids that are interested in such a
Yep,
thing.
yep.
But I think it would be way too expensive and overkill to try and do it in
With everybody for
mass because
absolutely.
so
I
many
agree.
are not even just not interested.
Absolutely.
Like I said,
Yeah,
kids that think their meat comes from the store.
yeah.
And so
But
they're
but the
just not.
question of there's a place for it,
There is a
just
place
not a
for it,
requirement for all.
especially regionally,
Right.
the
Yeah.
Midwest,
Mhm.
parts of California, parts of Florida.
For sure.
You're not going to get a whole lot of that up in New York.
Put your mental health worker hat on. And what do you think the mental health community can learn from farmers?
Routine, process, procedure, following steps, um, somatic integration, actually using your physical body.
What about, well, I mean, that would be a tough question because if you're in, say, a mental health environment as a patient,
Mhm.
the focus should be on you, right? But one of the
Then
other
it would be
things,
good activities,
uh-huh,
it would be an excellent thing to offer
right.
as the activities that you use within a mental health situation where you're
Like,
trying to get people into
that's
skills, occupational or
well, what I was getting to is what do you think about the facet of actually caring for another living thing?
and that too. Absolutely,
It's
because
because that
purpose gives you a
takes,
purpose. It gives you
yes,
something to
outside of yourself and your
do.
own issues and problems, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I like
Absolutely.
it. So, all right, folks, let's
Okay.
just say if you've got some calloused hands or just a potted basil on your windowsill, Kel's going to go home and start growing her own food,
Yeah.
prepping for the end of times.
Right.
But you may just, be trying to be one stubborn house plant.
Yeah, and it's for a plant.
But, you know, any of that stuff, we just want you to be part of something that's very ancient and it's very essential. And today we learned that.
Mhm.
Farming isn't just survival, it's soul work.
Yeah, really
So
perfect.
big thanks to you, Kel,
Thank
and
you.
all of you listening on the farm in the city, or maybe some of you guys that are prepping in your bunker.
Did a shout out.
I love it. Thank you guys. So what I want you to do is keep joining us next Wednesday at 4 p.m. where we're going to be live streaming from the Nevada Art Association in Carson City, Nevada, as we're going to be covering what's the matter with artists. And we're going to dig into the lives of some brilliant minds who turn pain into the purpose through art. So What's the Matter is brought to you by World Matter Incorporated, proudly produced by Big Bongo Production. So until next time, plant something real, plant your seeds, stay kind, trust the seasons, and remember, everything is made up of matter. So find yours and keep it real. This is G-Man and Kel signing off. See you. Yay. It's just practice.